Hi, my name is Stephanie and welcome back to my channel, and I cannot believe that I'm saying this, but it's that time of year again. It's the end of September. We're all getting ready to head off back to Oxford to the start of Michaelmas term. I recently graduated from Oxford, so what better time to reflect back and give you the best advice possible to be fully prepped. From pre-reading to housing. Speaking of which, try to get your housing sorted by the end of September, which essentially it's now. It's October 1st, so by now you should probably have sorted your housing. I know that Oxford is quite a last minute rental market, but please do keep in mind that it generally takes about a week, sometimes even two, to just fully process the rental agreement and everything around it. If you are really struggling to find somewhere to stay, please do contact your college. Please do not panic in silence. Please do reach out to your college, because if you are abroad, you've never lived in Oxford before, it might just be an incredible hassle, and that's totally fine, but please don't panic by yourself in silence. Please do reach out to your college. Generally speaking, your college will be happy to help you in any way they can. Then number 2, try to get your hands on the reading list. And this is actually a bit of a 2-in-1, because I would highly recommend to start pre-reading, and you'll need your reading list for that, because if you're doing your pre-reading in your free time, you will actually get more free time during your term time, which you can then use to do any further reading or to do other fun stuff during term time. The second part to this one is that if you get your hands on the reading list, you will be able to go ahead and make sure that you have all the material available to yourself. So me, for example, I studied literature. I prefer to have my books so that I can actually write in them and take notes in them, and I was able to buy them fairly cheaply on like French websites. I did French literature, and that takes some time to get it shipped to my house. So in order to be like fully prepped, make sure that you have that reading list so that you can find out where to borrow your books, where to buy them, or where you can download them online to have them on your computer or whatever works best for you in terms of studying. But make sure that you know where to get your materials from, because it will save you time and stress during term time. Number 3, school supplies, which is quite straightforward. In all fairness, you don't need that many school supplies to start at Oxford, at least not when you're doing literature. The essentials would sort of be a notebook, a pen, some sticky notes, a laptop charger, and some highlighters. Really, that's all that will get you going. You don't really need more fancy equipment than just the plain old study materials. 4, the living essentials. Again, if you're just moving in, you're not able to like ship stuff to your house and your parents not dropping you off, or maybe your parents are dropping you off but they have a very small car and you cannot really fit everything in. Honestly, the only things that you will need in like the first couple of days will boil down to hangers to hang your clothing in your wardrobe, a plate, some cups to drink, water, tea, wine, port. You go to Oxford, you probably run into port, some cutlery, a chopping board. It is quite helpful to have a chopping board, even though when you're catered for, you always run into stuff that you do want to chop. A piece of fruit, whether it's a lemon to do your DIY cocktail night, whatever, a chopping board actually is quite useful. And in terms of clothing, there's a couple of things that are sort of essentials in Oxford. I would definitely recommend bringing a piece of formal wear, some versatile sportswear that you can use for multiple sports and multiple societies when you're trying those out. More on that later. Comfortable casual wear and some warm clothing, because it will get cold in Oxford in winter. If you're actually not living in college and you do have to cook yourself and you don't have the option to go into your college regularly, I would highly recommend just getting a frying pan and a pot. That's literally everything you need to survive at least your first bit in Oxford. Number 5, spare space in your suitcase. This sounds very strange, but whether you're flying into Oxford from abroad, whether you're going by train, whether you're traveling by car to Oxford with all of your stuff, make sure that you leave spare space in the suitcase that you're bringing, the boxes that you're bringing, the containers that you're bringing, whatever you're moving your stuff in. Please leave spare space, because you will accumulate stuff in Oxford. And you have to think ahead a little bit in terms of when you're living in college, you're most likely going to have to move out every single term, which yes, is a massive hassle. So you probably do not want to bring too much stuff, but also keep in mind that you probably will acquire a bunch of stash and sweatshirts in the first couple of weeks at Oxford. It's just the way it is. You will acquire stuff in Oxford, whether you will buy it or whether you will get it for free. Also, if you have to move internationally after the full year, go back home after your masters or anything along those lines, please leave spare space in that suitcase, because you most likely will be buying a puffer, which is like a winter coat. You most likely will be buying 1 or 2 sweatshirts and maybe a scarf, because you will end up buying stuff. That's just the way it is. Number 6, which sort of goes in line with number 5, do not overpack. Literally, if you're an undergrad going into Oxford, you're there for 8 weeks and then you have to move out and move back in. So bringing all your cute little summer dresses, just don't do it because you don't need them. It's going to be cold, it's going to be winter. Just don't bring stuff that you're probably not going to need. Just think about it to sort of pack for like 8 weeks, if that makes sense. And if you're a grad and you also have to move out each term, you're looking at 10 weeks. If you're not having to move out every single time, still don't overpack because you most likely will have to travel back to where you came from with all of your required stuff as well. You really don't need those cocktail glasses, that entire set of pots and pans, or a different pairs of jeans. You really don't need it. 7, don't be stressed out about meeting new people because everyone will be in the same boat. Most likely your JCR or your MCR has organized a bunch of activities for all of you to get to know each other, and everyone there is also trying to make a bunch of new friends. So it really doesn't make any sense to freak out about it or be like, oh no, I don't know what to do because I'm going to have to meet new people, or I want to meet new people and I don't know how. Don't worry about it. Everyone is in the same boat. Everyone wants to find a new friend group. Everyone wants to get to know everyone and figure out which people they sort of fit in with. So please don't worry about it. It will be fine. I promise you will be totally fine. Just don't stress about it because everybody is essentially in the same boat. That's the core of the message. 8, try to locate your key places in Oxford on like Google Maps or something. Please go ahead and pin a couple of locations on Google Maps so that you sort of know where everything is. So for me, it looked like this. So I pinned my college, I pinned where I lived because I was a graduate student, so I did not live in college. I pinned my department building, my library, and your library will be probably a different one. Maybe the same if you're doing literature, will be the Taylor, will be this one. What I mean with your library is the library that has most books relevant to your course. Your closest grocery store, a sports facility. So if you are really into sports, for me it was figure skating. I absolutely love figure skating and I was planning on definitely being there at least once a week. So for me that was an important commute, so I put it on there. If you're unsure about it, just don't put it on there. Also public transport links. So for me the train station was actually quite important because I travel back to London quite often, but if you're not planning on doing that, just ignore it. Anyways, you end up with a little map. This one was mine, and as you can tell, everything was quite far apart. Like Oxford is very tiny, so it was not like, it was like a 10-minute bike ride that what we're talking about, but that's my point exactly. You might want to do this to see if you actually need a bicycle or if everything will be walkable distance for you. So for example, if I look at my partner's map in this instance, in his first year at Trinity, he lived in Trinity. Trinity was his college, his department building was engineering, where also his library was located. His grocery store was Tesco's, it was close to him. He was not planning on doing any intense sports and he did not require any public transport links. So for him, his map looks totally different and he did not really need a bicycle his first year. So essentially just figure out for yourself where everything is at so that you can see if you're actually required to have a bicycle. And in Freshers Week, you'll have multiple options to buy a bicycle. Some colleges, I think even most colleges, don't quote me on that, but run some sort of bike sale. You'll figure it out. But it's nice to have an idea of how far everything is so that you sort of know or can budget for a bicycle. Number 9, look at the student union website, and by which I do not mean the union, but the student union, the SU, to find out more about all the different clubs and societies that Oxford offers. And the good thing is about taking a look at that in advance is that so that you can make a list for yourself with all of the clubs and societies that you are potentially interested in. So when you go into Freshers Fair, you'll be able to have a chat with all of these different clubs and societies so that you're able to sign up for them, to see if you're an actual fit for them. And in all honesty, if you're interested in 10 societies, just sign up for all 10 of them. Sounds a bit ridiculous, it's definitely not sustainable, but in all fairness, just the first weeks at these societies and clubs will be loads of fun. They will host a bunch of activities, you'll get to know a bunch of people, and after all, if you're thinking maybe this one is not for me, you can just drop it and just move on with the other ones that you have left. Number 10, speaking about the union, this time the Oxford Union, you might want to look into joining them when you're unsure about whether or not to join, because it is quite a hefty amount. And I don't want to speak for them, but in my year they ran a discount in Freshers Week, so I assume that they might do the same thing in coming years. So if you are interested in joining the union, you might want to do that during Freshers Week, and at that point you might already want to have considered it regarding the hefty amount you have to pay for it. So you might want to budget that one in too if you're really into it, and you might want to use that discount you get in Freshers Week. So that was all of my advice for prepping for Oxford. I hope it was helpful in some way, shape or form, and good luck going to Oxford, and I hope you'll enjoy it. I had a great time and I look back on such a wonderful time at Oxford. So enjoy those first weeks. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment and subscribe, and you can watch way more of my Oxford content on tips, tricks and how to survive Oxford essay crises and everything like that. See ya!